I was thinking of maybe we do a catchweight at 190. We get the cruiserweight belts involved, the light heavyweight belts involved, and winner take all. Dmitry said he wanted to fight for the cruiserweight championships before his career was over. So maybe this is we can make a even bigger fight like that. Yeah, so based on the sparring, I know the potential of certain type of scenarios in the ring. You know, for a fight to change and fight to end, it only needs 1 second or one good combination. So I know that I told you guys over and over then that I did this to Sudo Ramirez in the ring. I did the same thing to Dmitry Bivol. You know, I'm not trying to be cocky, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but those are just the facts.
To be honest, now I don't care. Now I wanna come back and then we will see. Yeah, trilogy is. If people want to see it, I would like to show it. If people wanna see Benavidez, let's do it. But for my soul also, I wanna come. I wanna move up. I wanna try to another weight class. I wanna have some more achievement.
David Benavidez and Dmitry Bivol have started a heated war of words over a possible catchweight super fight that could decide who stands at the top of boxing's pound-for-pound rankings. Benavidez made it clear that his main goal is to take all of Bivol's championship belts, saying this is the only fight he truly wants at the moment.
Bivol is really he's the only fight I really want, like that I truly want, because he has all the belts. You know what I mean? After I beat Bivol, I'm gonna have, right now I have 8 titles. You know, 3 of them are interim, 3 of them world championships at super middleweight, light heavyweight. Now I got 2 of them at cruiserweight. I really want those belts. You know, I want those accolades. So that's the only thing I want right now. You know, I'm not thinking about Opataya. I'm not thinking about none of these guys, because this is a fight I want, and it makes sense for both of us.
With Dmitry Bivol showing interest in facing David Benavidez, Oscar De La Hoya shared his thoughts on the potential showdown, saying the fight could strengthen Bivol's legacy even more. However, he believes Benavidez has the edge and would likely come out on top in this matchup.
I mean, if he's willing to do that, if he's willing to be great and fight Benavidez, my gosh, that would solidify, you know, Bivol's, you know, Hall of Fame career for sure. But that, yeah, he proves to the world that he's the best at 175. So yeah, I think that's a hell of a fight. That would be a hell of a route to take.
Would you favor him or Benavidez in that?
Wow, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because, I mean, I would go with Benavidez.
Breaking down the matchup, Oscar De La Hoya believes David Benavidez would win because of his non-stop activity, powerful punches, quick hands, high punch volume, and impressive footwork.
Because he's more active, he throws more punches, he has better footwork, obviously, than Dmitry Bivol. You know, he's smarter up there. He knows how to think, knows how to adjust. Yeah, I would favor Ben.
One of the biggest controversial opinions came from Max Kellerman, who said David Benavidez still has not been fully recognized as a true champion because many fighters continue to avoid stepping into the ring with him.
You beat the champion in 2 divisions. Benavidez, by my lights, the way I figure things, has never actually been the champion of a division. Not his fault. Canelo never gave him a shot. So far, neither Bivol gave him a shot, nor Beterbiev, when he was the champ, gave him a shot. Opataya is a champion who is sitting there going, I want to fight you, right? Look, the fact that no one's fought Benavidez, you understand. And I know he just beat Zurdo Ramirez and there were belts on the line. Right. The actual champion of the division is different. Let's say the most likely scenario is he goes back down to light heavy and he fights Bivol, who right now is the light heavyweight champion of the world.
The debate is still ongoing about whether David Benavidez should remain at cruiserweight or move back down to light heavyweight, with Devin Haney warning that dropping weight again could negatively affect his performance in the ring.
I don't love that for him because we've seen guys like Roy Jones go up in weight and come back down, and they just aren't the same. I think he was already killing himself to make the weight. I've seen him do the weight cuts. I think that, you know, those weight cuts are brutal on him. I think that he's at cruiserweight. This is where we've seen the best of him. I think he should stay up there.
You know, guys, I agree, and I'll tell you something else. Where are you with this?
Me? I like it. I like the fight.
You like him going back down?
I think.
Or do you want Bivol to come up?
I think Bivol, no. Go back down if he likes to. He could use it. I mean, he's champion in both ways.
At one point, Max Kellerman even argued that Teofimo Lopez should not be viewed as a true title holder, adding that David Benavidez still has not been given the major fights he has earned and deserved.
Especially should not be calling the title holders champions, because think of how hard it was. You actually had to be the champion of the whole wide world. It's different. It's different. The guys who need to call themselves champions who just grab a belt are the dudes who aren't good enough or didn't have the opportunity to even fight those fights. Anyway.
It hits different, and I feel like with Bivol, I think he's the only one that'll possibly give David Benavidez a little bit of run for his money.
Who do you like in the fight?
Moving all that.
Because of the movement, I think that Benavidez really capitalizes when you're right there with him. And I think Bivol doesn't give you that.
The future of David Benavidez continues to spark major debate, with Sean Porter saying Benavidez must make smart decisions about which weight class he wants to compete in moving forward. Porter also mentioned that a fight against Jaime Munguia would be the perfect next matchup to see. He went on to say that Dmitry Bivol could face an even harder challenge against Benavidez than he did against Artur Beterbiev. At the same time, the ongoing rivalry involving Beterbiev and Bivol continues to overshadow the division, making the entire situation even more unpredictable.
At that weight class, I personally want to see the fight against Opataya. I personally want to see the fight against Bivol. Bivol, you're still around, and since you're still around, not that we're feeding you to the wolves, but this guy I think is young, vibrant, and probably will be, in a lot of ways, a tougher fight than Benavidez, or I'm sorry, than
Of course. Remember, I've been saying that. People, I'm good on the trilogy, man. Let Benavidez get his shot.
Focusing on the potential showdown between David Benavidez and Dmitry Bivol, Sean Porter believes this matchup is far more exciting and appealing than another fight between Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. Porter explained that Beterbiev is a more direct and straightforward fighter, while Benavidez and Bivol bring a higher level of skill, pressure, and danger that could push both men to their limits. According to Porter, the fact that both fighters are capable of seriously hurting each other is what makes this the most thrilling fight in the division right now.
Make fights. With Beterbiev, he's not complicated. He's going to be right there to hit and be hit, And like we saw with Bivol, it's up to Bivol to make the right moves, not be in the wrong spots at the right time. But with this fight with Benavidez, to me, there's just so much more that both these guys can do against one another that it makes it a better fight than the trilogy match with Beterbiev.
Teofimo Lopez also joined the conversation, saying David Benavidez has several options available and it is completely up to him whether he decides to move up or down in weight. Still, Teofimo believes Dmitry Bivol is the one fighter who could create the biggest problems for Benavidez. He explained that Bivol's ability to control distance and extend the fight over many rounds could make things difficult for Benavidez. Teofimo also mentioned that David Morrell was able to challenge Benavidez with his awkward style and sharp timing, showing that skilled movement can trouble him in the ring.
I get it.
Is he in a tough place because he's at cruiserweight, and then if he drops back down to 175, or the fight with Usyk is a heavyweight, then he's in a hard place.
Well,
how should he maneuver that?
If he's cruiserweight, then they have a new weight class, a bridgerweight, or is that only on WBC side?
Yeah.
Only WBC?
Yeah, that's an option.
You know what I mean? And he's basically WBC world champion, so they could probably round him there too. So many avenues for him.
You mentioned you think Bivol is probably the only one that could challenge
just
him?
because of the distance.
Yeah.
David Morrell gave him a tough fight, you know what I mean? And that was just from the range a little bit here and there and giving him a fight.
Ariel Helwani stepped into the conversation, describing a potential fight between David Benavidez and Dmitry Bivol as a massive must-see event. He pointed out that many American fans still remember Bivol for his win over Saul Canelo Alvarez, and he believes that linked to the Canelo storyline and Benavidez's ongoing rivalry would make the matchup even more exciting. Helwani also noted how Benavidez's heated buildup with David Morrell already helped fill arenas, suggesting that a fight with Bivol could bring even bigger global attention and reach a much larger audience.
This fight, Benavidez-Bivol, way bigger here in America. We just saw Benavidez carry a promotion with David Morrell, and Morrell did his part as well, but they sold out T-Mobile. A lot of people thought they wouldn't be able to do that. And now you bring in Dmitry Bivol, who a lot of American fans remember was the guy to beat Canelo Alvarez just a few years back. I think it would be a gigantic...
With David Benavidez proposing a catchweight super fight against Dmitry Bivol, the debate around his next move keeps growing. Chris Algieri says Benavidez is sending mixed signals and making things confusing for fans, especially since it seems Unlikely he would return to 175 after proving himself at cruiserweight. Algieri even calls it disappointing if that path happens, but he still admits Benavidez is unpredictable and capable of surprising everyone. He adds that all this uncertainty only increases the pressure and excitement around a possible showdown between Benavidez and Bivol.
Fight week, when he was saying, I feel so good, you're gonna see the best version of me. Because if you go out there and you do exactly what he did, you're not gonna wanna leave the weight class. You're gonna wanna struggle and get back down to 75 when you literally look your best at this weight. So the writing was kind of on the wall with that, and now that he's alluding to that, that tells me that he's probably not going back down to 75 again, which is a real shame, because I know I really want that Bivol fight. But listen.
On the sidelines, Roy Jones Jr. is pushing David Benavidez to aim straight for Alexander Usyk, saying he should avoid other big names like Jai Opetaia, Dmitry Bivol, and Artur Beterbiev, and instead take the biggest challenge immediately since he is at his peak. Jones has even called Benavidez one of the hottest fighters in boxing right now. However, Chris Algieri doesn't fully agree with rushing into a fight against Usyk just yet. He looks at both sides, saying Usyk would face a real test, but might not dominate for long, and adds that if Benavidez does step up and fight a legend at this stage, his legacy would be strongly secured.
Podcast. Roy is an absolute legend. I always pay homage to Roy. He's my favorite fighter who I've ever seen fight live in my lifetime. I don't like the idea of going right for Usyk. I know it's I know it's a big name. I know this would be the only opportunity to do it, and I think that's where he's coming from, because Usyk's not around for a long time. He's here for a good time, not a long time. So if you're gonna fight a living legend, an epic guy, like you're gonna get one of those fights, you know, this is it. There's not many like Usyk. It's like me getting the Pacquiao fight. Like, if I didn't fight Pacquiao, like I got to fight a legend.
David Benavidez has responded to the growing hype around a possible clash with Alexander Usyk, saying he is not fully sure the fight makes sense right now. Even though there is strong push from Turki Alalshik, Benavidez feels that jumping straight into heavyweight level competition is too big of a step at this point in his career. He made it clear that his focus is still on taking full control of both light heavyweight and cruiserweight divisions first, and only after proving himself there would he even think about moving up for a challenge like Usyk.
I mean, as of me for having a competitive spirit, that definitely does interest me. You know, like I said, at the end of the day, you don't know what's possible until you make it possible. You know what I mean? And a lot of people think I can't beat Usyk, but if I really put my mind into it and, you know, train for maybe like a year, because I barely came up to heavyweight. I mean, I barely came up to cruiserweight. I can't just go up to heavyweight like that, you know what I mean? But if I train myself and I prepare myself, I could beat anybody in the world. But right now, that's not possible for me and my...
David Benavidez has spoken about his mindset amid the ongoing talk of a possible fight with Alexander Usyk, saying challenges like that do interest him. However, he stressed that interest alone is not enough without proper timing and preparation. He explained that moving from cruiserweight to heavyweight requires steady adjustment, the right conditioning, and careful physical development, and rushing into it could be risky at this point in his career. Even so, Benavidez admitted that the desire to test himself against the very best is still there, but he believes patience is the smarter path for now.
I want to become I want to be a reigning champion at 175 in cruiserweight. So that's already kind of hard to do that. If I go up to heavyweight, then I should forget about light heavyweight, because, you know, the weight difference is just way too big. But I'm never gonna say never, because maybe in the future when I'm like 35, maybe 36, we could go up to heavyweight. But right now, I'm really just, you know, I'm just really I'm just taking care of the cruiserweight and
David Benavidez has made his plans clear, saying he is preparing to move back down to light heavyweight as he targets an undisputed fight with unified champion Dmitry Bivol, who is expected to face Michael Eifert on May 30th. The unbeaten American says talks have already taken place with Bivol's team, and he believes the fight can be made this year. After picking up more wins at cruiserweight, Benavidez is now fully focused on light heavyweight, insisting the long-awaited clash is already in motion and getting closer to becoming a reality.
I told you guys I was going to come back down and fight Bivol, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now I won 2 more titles at cruiserweight. Now it's time to capture the rest of the titles at light heavyweight.
I love that. Do you think that it could happen? Is the dream for it to happen in September, Mexican Independence Day weekend? Is that what you want?
Not right now. I think I don't know what's gonna happen because we're still.
As talk grows about a possible showdown between David Benavidez and Dmitry Bivol, Andre Dirrell has offered a blunt take on the matchup. He says the biggest weakness in Benavidez' style could be exposed against Bivol, calling Bivol the final boss of the division who could create major problems. Dirrell explains that footwork will be the key difference, arguing that Benavidez may struggle to cut off the ring against such a mobile opponent. In his view, Bivol's movement and control of distance would likely be the deciding factor, giving him the edge to win the fight.
You know, I don't think there's literally like nothing he can do to get the victory. I ain't saying they ain't gonna be close. What I'm saying is nothing he can do to win. I think Bivol will edge him out as far as moving. You know how David pursues versus how well Bivol moves and punches along with his movement will simply be too much for David. He'll be trying to figure it out. He'll be more determined as each round progresses, right? And he'll.
Andre Dirrell says David Benavidez would enter a fight with Dmitry Bivol at the very peak of his abilities and could still deliver one of the toughest performances Bivol has ever faced. Even so, Dirrell ultimately believes Bivol would still come out on top and hand Benavidez a defeat. He adds that such an outcome would not be without value, as it could give Benavidez important lessons for his future fights. In his view, while Benavidez would earn respect for his effort, the experience would also expose certain weaknesses that only a high-level fighter like Bivol could bring out.
Give him a great performance against Bivol, but he'll learn a lot about himself in that loss versus Bivol. That's the only sure thing for me, and I hate to be that guy, but I have to be that guy. I'm a boxer first, right? I see the talent, I see the skill set, right? I see the work ethic, you know, I see it all in Bivol, right? You know what I'm saying? He's very, very difficult to beat. And then I heard recently that Shakur and maybe Crawford feels the same way. I know he had a conversation with Shakur and he feels the same way. But I'm gonna tell you, like,
the potential clash between David Benavidez and Dmitry Bivol is turning into more than just a regular fight, as it is now seen as a real test of skill, timing, and top-level experience that could shape both of their careers. You enjoyed this breakdown? Make sure to like, subscribe for more boxing updates, and share your prediction in the comments on who you think will win and why.